Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Football Down Under podcast. You've got me as your host today, Yoni, and today I've got with me both Alex and we have a special guest as well, Adam. Uh, Boys, how are you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Very good. Happy to
Fantastic.
be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. What I'll do, Adam, I'll just kind of get you, just to introduce yourself a little bit, so the people here kind of know where you're from and why we've invited you as well. Quick intro for everyone. This is going to be a Manchester United kind of preview for the season, review of the preseason, etc. So it's just the three of us. It's going to be Man United heavy. All right. Adam, do you mind just letting us know a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I'm nearly 50 years old, so I've been around the bush with United for a long time, and I actually run a podcast myself called ManCave United. So I actually do all my podcasts from a cave. I've got a Manchester United cave with history dating back to probably 1906. Soon I'll have. I'm a big card collector as well, like Yoni, and so I love United's history. And even though my mind goes blank on players at times, I'm enthralled by it. So like everyone's passion for United, you fall in love with the club, and there's nothing else that matters more to you in life than Manchester United, I'm afraid.
Mate.
So it's an addiction, and it'll always be that.
Yeah,
Blessing
I
and a curse.
100% agree, and it's been a very depressing addiction for the last few years, but it's looking a lot better now.
Yeah.
And just for anyone who's listening, obviously you can't see the recording, but I definitely recommend going and having a look at Adam's YouTube. You can kind of see the Man Cave in that as well. It is phenomenal. So anyone who's a Man United fan, you should actually have a look at that. It is super. And the other thing as well, Adam is involved in the supporters club for New South Wales as
Yeah.
well. I think you do the social media.
Yeah. So I do the social media with a couple of other fellas with Manchester United Supporters Club New South Wales. So I always encourage anyone that doesn't matter where you are around the world, any state, go and find your local supporters club, because it always works well with people, especially if you're a collector and you want to talk everything United. So I've been part of the supporters club since it started in 1994. We're actually celebrating 30 years next year. So we're going to have a big function for that next year, and we're trying to get a few players over and stuff like that. So yeah, it's awesome. And our home ground's at Scruffy Murphy, so look out for it.
Yeah, sounds like a perfect time to join in then. Be prepped up for that next year. And I mean, just to touch base with everyone, Alex and I actually went to an event that was organized by the Supporters Club in January. Alex, super event.
Yeah, no, it was great. So I flew up. So obviously, the lads are from Sydney. I'm from Melbourne, so I flew up to Sydney in January for a holiday. Made a point to catch up with Yoni, but at the same time, United had the derby against City. The game played at Old Trafford, so made a point to go watch it at the Scruffy Murphy with the Sports Association, and massive turnout, packed. They nearly didn't let me in. I was just explaining my arm twisting to allow the security to get me in. So it was an amazing experience. It was absolutely packed, could not get a seat. And of course, the atmosphere for a derby was great. It was a good time Saturday at 11:30 p.m. And to get the win as well, the scenes on Rashford's winner was just incredible. For someone who, look, unfortunately haven't had the opportunity to go to Old Trafford just yet, but for someone who has spent the majority of their United life watching from the comfort of a couch or a bed, to be able to go be among it with a bunch of United fans in a situation where it's kind of like a derby atmosphere. Everyone's there, United to, pun intended, United to watch their team play and get a big win there was just nothing like it. And yeah, our mine and Yoni's celebrations was actually caught on camera, and just looking back at it, and I had a fun trip. I actually had a really fun trip up there in Sydney, but to be honest, that's probably the highlight. That was actually just such a fun night. Had an amazing dinner, then went and got to have a beautiful experience and watch my team get a big win in the derby. Can't
I
really
got to tell
complain.
you, I remember that you were
Well
going to be
hosted.
about 45 minutes late, and I was fuming because I got there so early to get us seats.
Did.
And I was waiting and waiting, and it got busier and busier. And I was like, oh no, he's going to have to stand up if there's even space for this guy. But
Even the final of the Carabao Cup, that was huge. Like, we have massive events there. I think like sometimes we have to do the 2 floors. It's actually 3 levels, and we'll have middle floor, top floor. We're usually all members up in the top floor. That's why I encourage people to become members. Literally, it's $25. I know Melbourne are doing their best at the moment to try and get their supporters club up and running again. I know they go to James Squires in Melbourne after the last tour. They got links with James Squires now. Like we had some massive events at James Squires in Melbourne after the last tour, and it's good to see the boys down there. They're trying to get something going with them. So yeah, there's nothing better than hanging out with fellow supporters.
I agree, and it's something actually that you experience that's quite similar to the experience you would have when you're in Manchester about a game as well. Like I remember last time I was there, you know, I've got a bit of family in Manchester, so I went and I visited them all at a pub, and everyone was a Man United supporter because obviously we're about to go to a game. So it was quite a similar experience in regards to that. And in regards to the club itself as well, the supporters club, definitely if you're someone like Alex who, you know, wants to go at some point to see Man United play, being a member of the club gives you the opportunity of being able to get tickets when you do finally go. I think you need to be a member for at least a year or something like that, just to be able to kind of get that kind of benefit, because obviously, you know.
So what we do at ours, what we do, we get you to join for 2 years. So
2 years,
and it gives you the benefit of what do you call it, getting tickets and stuff like that. But you also have to look at being an official member as well. So
yeah. But think of how much money that would save you as well in regards to it. Because otherwise, if you're going there and you're getting some, like, you know, off StubHub or whatever the case is, like a secondary, it's going to cost you.
You're getting prices. You're getting tickets at normal price, face value.
Yeah,
you're not getting ripped off by anyone. So I've just come back, and I actually got tickets like through our club for one game. I went to, I think, 4 games, but for one of the games I went through our club, and it was £50 to go and watch it. So nice. I encourage everyone just to join their club without a doubt.
Awesome. All right, so we'll leave the introductions on that. What I want to do, I guess, you know, just have a bit of a chat. There's a few questions I kind of wanted to start with, kind of to get to know both of you guys a bit personally in regards to Manchester United, and then we'll move on to the season as well. We'll try to keep it short. I guess, you know, the first kind of question I wanted to know is, you know, what made you actually fall in love with Man United? Alex, I'll start with you, mate.
Sure. I mean, I've told this story countless times to people. I'm not sure if you've heard it, Yoni, but you probably have. But quite simple. I was about 6, 7 years old. I knew nothing about football prior to that point. It wasn't as big in my family as, say, AFL would be. But I had cousins that actually supported Man United at the time. They were big into it. And I went to their house, and we actually had FIFA, the old FIFAs on PS2 at the time. And I just picked Man United. Again, had no idea, knew nothing about football other than you can't touch the ball and Brazil are good. That's literally all I knew. So then that was
the last time Brazil was good as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was the last time they won the World Cup. It was literally around that time. I literally knew nothing, but you know, obviously at that point, I'm starting to make sense of the world and getting into sports. I was getting into AFL and tennis and things like that. And then I just picked United because they just gave me the controller, and I kicked a goal from halfway with David Beckham. And then I'm like, oh, hang on. And then I just thought this is kind of cool. And then I fell in love with David Beckham just before he went to Real Madrid, and just fell in love with the team. Got a jersey, saw a bunch of movies, started watching games because at the time they were starting to be shown on Fox Sports. And I just happened to latch onto it. And, you know, obviously got to see the tail ends of that 90s era with guys like Beckham and Keane and Scholes and all that, but then ushered in a new era of, you know, with Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, Vidic, everyone, that ilk of player. And yeah, it just, I don't know how to explain it other than, like, when you have a club like that, they just capture the imagination and they make you sort of just fall in love with the sport on top of the team, because you're seeing players just do things that you never thought physically possible. So yeah, it's since then, from a young age, I've just only ever supported United. Couldn't think of another team to follow.
Can I tell you, all I heard there is you're a glory hunter. All right.
The last 10 years are a punishment. That's
that's you actually didn't enjoy the glory as much as we did. Yeah. Adam, what about you, mate?
Yeah, so obviously I'm nearly 50, so I was born in the 70s. I was born in 1974. I had an uncle that was that lived in Altrincham, so just around Manchester there, who was Maltese, but like in Malta they got the biggest supporters club outside of Manchester. So he was a member of that, and he used to fly back and forth from Manchester to Australia, and he was living in Australia and everything like that. He was a season pass holder at the Theatre of Dreams, and yeah, he used to come and watch me play football, and his addiction turned into my addiction. So that's how it became. Yeah, and the same sort of deal. Like he went to Malta Supporters Club. We're both members there, and Manchester United's got a massive affiliation with Malta. So one of the first times he went over, David Beckham and that were apprentices. So, well, not first time he was over, but he went to a function there. What was it? It was probably 1993, maybe 94. Oh, no, it would have been 92 because David Beckham was still an apprentice. So
yeah, 94 he came in, right?
Yeah. So 92 he was an apprentice. And he sent me a postcard signed by David Beckham, and next to it said apprentice, and it had Sir Alex Ferguson on there as well, with Steve Bruce and Paul Parker and things like players like that who went over to show off their trophies. And yeah,
Tell me you still have that postcard.
Yeah, I still do. If I could, I have got it. You boys can see it. So the postcard is actually
that's sick.
It's just there. So, and you can see the photos. He's with Sir Bobby Charlton and Sir Alex, and yeah,
that's awesome.
That's pretty awesome piece. Yeah.
I'll tell you a sad story when I get to my part.
So that's how I became a United supporter. Yeah.
Oh, mate. So I'll go now. So pretty much for me, my dad's actually from Belfast, and his entire family have been Man United supporters since the George Best days. Initially I wasn't a big fan of football, but then probably when I became 7, 8, somewhere along those lines, I started really enjoying it, playing it at school. And then that coincided with, I guess, Cantona joining Man United, because it was about 94. So I think he joined 92.
Yeah.
But
93, yeah.
93, yeah. So it was about 94 when I started really getting into it. My uncles used to go, Cantona, Cantona. And, being a kid, I was like, that's a cool show. And since then, I was hooked. And the sad story is that I think it was 97 or 98. I had a signed David Beckham ball. And
nice.
I don't know whatever happened to it.
Oh, jeez.
Got it. Now as a collector, I'm actually frustrated, because that would be, number one, I would keep it, but it'd also be worth good money. And but that's I was born into it. I love it, and I love it.
Oh, look, it's hard. It's hard. Like I said to you, it's a drug. Manchester United's a drug, and I still vividly remember my Uncle Bill coming back and saying to me, this kid. We're talking about David Beckham, like him and Brian McClare are my two favourite players, and coming back and saying to me about David and saying this kid will be a superstar, and I'll still never forget him saying it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, in the FDU group that we run, Alex and I and a couple others, there was actually a discussion a couple of days ago about David Beckham, and a few people were saying that he's not as good as people say he is, and we ripped into them because obviously
how much? I always say how much of David Beckham did they watch, because he left in 2003. So I watched his whole career. He's exactly the same age as me, and when you grow up with players like Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Phil Neville, Nicky Butt, they're all my age. And I'm a young kid playing in Australia, while these kids are living the dream playing at the Theatre of Dreams. And you just watch these kids, and it's just like it's mind blowing.
With a player like Beckham, like you're not going to get into the Sir Alex team by accident. Like when people were sort of downplaying him, you're not a first team player for Sir Alex for 8-9 years.
And you also he actually played Alex's way of playing was actually there was a big focus on Beckham's strength as well, because he knew
100%.
Actually with his passing, not just crosses, passing crosses, he'd run a lot, all of those kind of things were essential to what Man United was doing, especially in that
he's so underrated.
90s.
He's so underrated, and people think he was slow. He was nowhere near slow.
No, he wasn't.
The amount of times he used to get to the ball first, or they used to thread him through a line or something like that. Mate, he
People
was a
remember
workaholic.
his 65 free kicks or whatever. They forget the other 65 goals he scored that were not
Yeah,
free kicks.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
mental.
But
He probably
Yeah.
had the best like technique in terms of wherever he wanted the ball to go, it went there. And I must say, I was lucky to see him live when the LA Galaxy came to Melbourne for a
I was
friendly
there
against
that game.
Victory. Oh,
Yeah.
you were there too. And
Yeah.
I'm convinced he and I made eye contact because I was sat along the corners. He took a corner, and I will go to the grave and say we locked eyes. But he
Did you
had
slide
this.
into his DMs later on Instagram or?
I have since. No, but there's something about just players like that have an aura. Like you see him on the pitch, and it's like, oh, that's
He's
David
a
Beckham.
superstar.
And even
Mate,
now, like I think to myself, I saw David Beckham play football. I
Yeah.
was within
Yeah.
20 minutes. That's
But I can tell you now,
ridiculous.
if I ever got the chance to meet David Beckham, I'd be speechless. I
Yeah.
really
Oh,
would. Mate,
wouldn't
he's
know what
my
to say.
man love, mate. And I always say it. He's my man crush. And, mate, everyone loves David. I
Well,
tell
again,
you.
so again, I was what 10 to 13 when it was peak,
Yeah.
or maybe 10 to 15 when it was like peak Beckham kind of,
Yeah.
and when he had the haircut and all that, and becoming like a proper superstar. You're talking about like a man crush, being the 10 to 15-year-old boy, and David Beckham's like the biggest like idol you can have, really. But
Yeah.
I think that actually, I will say, I think that answers my next question, which was going to be who's everyone's favorite player. Mine is Beckham. Like it's nostalgic in a way because obviously it reminds me of growing up and watching United, watching the '99 game and all that. If I try to get rid of the nostalgia factor, I don't know if he's my favorite, but I'd say over the last 10 years, actually David De Gea has been my favorite, and I will fight anyone like anytime about David De Gea, and I'll
I
We've
love,
seen
I
it.
love that. Yeah.
We've seen
yeah,
it.
I'm with you.
yeah.
My daughter's a massive fan of David De Gea.
Yeah, I remember you showed me
Yeah.
the glove as well, right?
Yeah, she like her whole bedroom's decked out in De Gea. And so I don't just have memorabilia in the cave. I've actually got memorabilia in my daughter's bedroom
It's just
as well.
it's the whole
Yeah,
house.
she's a fan. It's not that you needed extra space.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say like Beckham was my original. Like he's the one that got me into it, but obviously
I know who
didn't
it
get to
is for
see
you.
full of him. You know who it is, and I think to be fair, Adam, you saw my background before I quickly just changed it to this. But just I guess just due to probably the era, but it is Ronaldo. Beckham is the reason that I got into United, but Ronaldo made me, like I said earlier, just capture the imagination. I know that the ending, like that, the honeymoon, the homecoming was a good couple of months. I'll never forget that night when he came back. How I felt. I know ended very sourly last year, unfortunately, but I just don't think it took away from what he achieved at the club, especially the year we won the Champions League to get 42 goals as a winger, basically. To take the next step, you saw how frustrating it was when he started to then take the next step in becoming a stronger player. And there was, especially for my era, because that's when I was, getting into high school, becoming a teenager, all that sort of stuff. He was the guy, the Nike adverts, the Nike boots. Everyone tried to dribble like him. Everyone tried to run like him, have his hairstyles, have his free kicks. He was the guy. And I mean, it's no accident that he's, had the career that he's had and he's the level of fame that he's got. He's alongside Messi, of course, he's the guy of my generation where we look up to and see them as just these godly figures. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
see,
beyond anything.
for me, like you talk about Ronaldo, and being that I did grow up in the 80s and 90s, and like when Ronaldo first came to the club, I found him such an irritating player. And I actually found him irritating right through his whole career at United. And I know that's blaspheming, but yeah, I did. He drove me crazy. But mate, credit to him, mate. The stuff that he's done has been absolutely phenomenal. But I look at Ruud van Nistelrooy as well, and like
Good choice.
the goals that he scored. But like I said, mine are Brian McClare. But Brian McClare was the first player to score 30 goals in a season since George Best, and and a lot of people.
I wish I could have
don't
seen
remember
Best. Like I actually wish I could have seen Best. That would have been.
I didn't see George Best play, but my Uncle Bill just used to talk about him all the time. It never ever stopped. It was always, George Best is better. Everyone talks about Pele, but George Best, he was unbelievable. That because he saw him play a lot, and I didn't get to see George play, but basically this cave is dedicated to my Uncle Bill because, and I've got signed George Best stuff in here, but there's so many
And-
great players at United.
And Best
we're
was
so
going to
lucky.
say, like, on Best as well, like we spoke about obviously Ronaldo and Beckham. Best was the first in terms of superstars, in terms of like having been a celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
Going that beyond football and going into
Did
Yeah.
he date
hanging out with movie
Marilyn
stars
Monroe?
and singers. Maybe. I mean, it's
He
George
dated
Best.
someone. I don't remember who.
I don't know.
He married a supermodel, but it wasn't
Oh.
Marilyn Monroe.
It's George
This
Best.
Is
Who
my
knows?
George Best. My
I
George
love
Who knows
that.
that guy?
You know how many times I look at those?
I know. I need to get it graded.
I was gonna say
Right.
recently Bruno Fernandes as well in terms of favorite plays. Fernandes, just for the way he's come into the club, and I guess took to the club straight away. Now he's captain, thank
He
God.
changed the club, thankfully. But
Yeah.
we'll move on. We'll move on. One last question, and then we'll go to the preseason and everything. We'll keep it short with this one. Best memory about Man United in general. Adam?
Far out.
Oh, I'll
Best
go first.
memory.
I'll go first, so you can
You
have a
go
bit.
first, yeah.
Mine is hands down seeing United against Newcastle in Old Trafford, Boxing Day, winning 4-3, win a 90th minute winner by Chicharito. Like awesome.
Yeah.
And it was Ferguson's last season. So it was awesome. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one, that one, because like with me, like through the 80s you didn't get to see much. You used to, and even the 90s you didn't get to see much too. We had Fox and stuff like that. So a lot of it was like getting the supporters club when it started in '94. They used to bring a videotape and you used to watch the game on a videotape, or you'd have a message from say Alex or something like that. But yeah, after like I watched that many highlights in the cave, and I always, one of my favourite things is Beckham's goal from halfway.
Yeah.
I love that. And then you got Champions League finals, FA Cup finals, and stuff like that. And yeah, look, one that always I love watching is Beckham's halfway goal. I love it.
Yeah.
I just love that. I just think this young fella, the height of him,
And then like the
halfway.
this part straight after as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it.
do that.
This guy's just showing off his card collection.
Yeah. I love the cards. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just love it. Like he's copped a pass from my favourite player, like Brian McClare as well. Yeah, and he's just gone, we'll keep us off his line. I'll have a go. So
it's the first, like, obviously we've seen a lot of, halfway goals since then, but it's kind of like the first iconic one. And it's the most iconic one. Like,
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the cleanest because it's just the way the ball just floats and just hits the net without bouncing is just most like aesthetically pleasing and most technical. Something just about it. Just
we look at Wayne Rooney when he did it.
The one I was thinking, Rooney's done it a couple of times. He did
the
one. He did I think DC as well.
He did that was the
that was the pass.
The
DC was the pass.
He won the ball back. Yeah.
Yeah. But he did it at United, but it wasn't exactly halfway. It was probably
it was on the other side halfway.
Yeah, but then he did do it at Everton, and was that a hat trick? The Everton one, like that was his hat trick goal.
I think it could have been. Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, your best memory, mate? Is it us watching the game? It is.
It's up. Look, honestly, it's up there. It's like, I'm not gonna lie, because like I said, it's the first experience that I've had of that ilk. But I can't look past. I like your selection, Yoni. To be fair, the Newcastle game, that season as a whole was quite emotional for me. It had a lot sort of tying into my life alongside that. That was obviously my last year of school. Sir Alex's last year, and just like a little personal thing. Sir Alex actually reminded me of my grandfather who passed away during that season. So when he passed away and Sir Alex retired, that was like for me like a coming of age sort of thing in terms of realizing that I'm becoming an adult. So that was quite an emotional season. Van Persie's winner against City for the free kick, that was great. But
the deflected one.
That was good.
Awesome,
deflection.
Yeah, I know. Just Nasri just ducking from his ball duties. Look, even Ronaldo's return, to be fair. I'll never forget.
I'll tell you what, that Newcastle game when Ronaldo scored.
Yeah, I mean, that whole just like, I mean, I know obviously, like I said, it kind of went tits up afterwards, but just the whole, I've still got skid marks on my floorboards with me doing these slides when Romano confirmed it. They're still there. Sorry, Mum. But I can't look past the Champions League in 2008. It's just, I have so many fond memories of that era. The kit was just a perfect kit. The AIG sponsorship, the team itself, it was just a perfect amalgamation. And to win, and it's obviously it's been 15 years and we haven't won it since. But to win Europe, to be the champions of Europe, it's it's something special. And at the time, we really were the Kings. It was like very envious. Like, my mates were very envious of me supporting United. Not now, but it was like the last time where
Don't
we
worry,
were
this
just
year we're
like,
going to do it again.
hopefully, but it was the last time where we were just that team. So I
Yeah.
can't go past.
Hey, even the
Especially
99.
against Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, I was too young for them.
I will say-
99 was
You guys
huge.
can go.
That was the year I got married. I got married in 99. And I still remember the game. I was watching it at my missus's house. And, mate, I was getting up to go to work and everything like that. And then we scored the 2 last-minute winners. It was freaking phenomenal.
I was
Just
99.
unbelievable memories.
I was still living in Israel at the time, and so I remember actually watching it. It was like probably
Been a good time for you, yeah. It would have been like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, something like 8-9 p.m. or whatever. And I was watching it with my dad, and I just remember the first goal going in. I was so excited. I ran around the house. I was like celebrating, whatever. And I come back, and then they scored this. Like, I came back after they've scored the second goal, and my dad was like, "Yeah, they're winning." I'm like, so yeah, it was pretty hectic. It's a great memory to have, like watching, a soccer game with your dad. Like, it's pretty cool. All right. I think we're good. Let's start with the preseason. There's a few things I want to discuss here. I broke it down into a couple of different things. First one is, I guess in a way, what's your overall assessment just of how the preseason went? Like, we won't discuss the transfers yet or that, but how did the preseason go? Are you happy with the way we played? Wins, losses, whatever. So, Adam?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, look, preseasons are hard to judge the season, aren't they? Yeah. Look, I was encouraged by it, but I can't say I was overwhelmed by it. I still thought, players like Anthony were still making the same moves, like cutting back inside and being so predictable. It was good to see like Mason Mount in there and playing nearly all the games and things like that. And I can't say I was encouraged for the season because I don't think sometimes they actually take it serious. They're preventing injuries and stuff like that. And, even like when we're watching the game and then you see Lindelof and Maguire come together again, you're just like,
yeah.
you know
I
what I mean?
this was over.
Megalov.
Don't worry, 60 million bid. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
And then they'll make like a full team change at half time and stuff like that. So for me, it's really hard to get a read on how they're going to be through the season. It was good to see the boys get a run out, and that looks like they're getting really, really fit. So that's probably more encouraging for me, regardless of the results, because the results at the end of the day I thought were poor.
I think fitness-wise, you're very right there, because even when we were playing, I think it was Dortmund, even though we lost the game, we actually looked a lot fitter.
Oh, we looked fit.
Than
Yeah, we looked so fit. Yeah.
So it was great to see. So I am very excited to see if we can hit the ground running, unlike last season. And the funny thing is, I think
been a great preseason
you'll agree
too.
that after the preseason, everyone was very excited. Sancho was getting form. We were winning. Yes, we still had Harry Maguire, but it hasn't made any mistakes yet. And people were actually excited for the whole, Erik ten Hag new season. And then obviously we lost the first 2 games. So
yeah. It's funny, like you're talking about last season. I was fortunate enough I got to meet Harry Maguire personally. So, and like I went into the season.
No. Yoni's vomiting.
I was going into the season like going, he's our captain, everything like that. He's such a nice guy and things like that. It's amazing how once you meet a person, have a bit of a chat and things like that, your mindset changes.
And you're like, why did we take the captaincy off him? Why?
I always thought he didn't deserve the captaincy, but yeah.
Yeah,
I was a big bagger because on other podcasts or even on mine, I always thought technically he was so poor. And
I'll never forget.
Sort of pull your head in there.
Yoni can't go an episode without talking about Maguire anyway.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You're not alone there, Adam. Don't worry.
Because I get angry at him
15
as a
episodes.
person. I get angry at him as a person because he's a muppet and he's like, I've got nothing.
There he goes. Here he goes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll never forget when we signed him, and Jamie Redknapp was talking to Van der Vaart, and Van der Vaart was like, I don't know why they spent 80 million on him. He's not a good defender. And Jamie Redknapp's like, oh no, he's a baller. He's really good. You'll see. He'll be worth the 80 mil.
Oh man.
And Van der Vaart was like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, nah. But anyway, we should move away from Harry.
But I'm encouraged I'm encouraged insofar as like, like you're right, Adam, you can't really gauge preseason because last preseason, I went to both games in Melbourne and we were playing some absolute amazing ball. Come the Brighton and the Brentford games, and I'm like, what the hell is this? This doesn't look like it. Took Casemiro to kind of bail us out. But I think like what's good is that we are looking like we're starting to play that high, fast-paced Ten Hag ball transitioning, especially now with the year under the system, with getting a new goalkeeper, like the
Martinez being back. Oh,
yes,
God.
exactly. I think we're starting to sort of get used to it, get used to the way it wants to play. It's a year now with it. We've added some players who are going to suit the system. So results aren't there, but results are results. I'm just happy that we're getting used to the system and there's something to build off of. Like we don't necessarily look worse than last season. We're not really sort of dragging through games like we were. We're actually starting to sort of control things a little bit more and really have figured out that counter-attack and transitional style that we want to play. I'm pretty happy with that.
I actually don't think we looked bad in any of the games. That's the other thing as well. Against Madrid, it was a fairly even game. In fact, we were a bit better for quite a big part of it. And then the Dortmund game, we dominated that first 44 minutes. Like we dominated it, and then we let 2 stupid goals in. So
but that's the most disappointing part about it for me. Like we would have our senior squad on first, and then we'd bring the youth side on in the second half, or a younger squad mixed in. And the second half of those friendlies were always better than the first half, and that's when we always got our goals. And
it was also the same last season in a way, though. I'd say.
Yeah, and that's for me last season. One of the most disappointing things was seeing some of those players not get a chance in some cup games and stuff like that. I'm big on the youth players. Most people that do know me, I'm very encouraging with youth players, and I believe youth players should get a go in cup games. Eric Ten Hag, it's probably one thing he let himself down with. Like a lot of kids, like traditionally for United, all made debuts through cup games and stuff like that. And I understand we want to win trophies, and I'm fully love winning trophies. But you've got to give kids a chance. You've got to give them a chance to prove himself. Otherwise it happens like with Iqbal. We sell him for $1 million, and it's an absolute debacle.
The sad thing about it is we don't know how to sell kids. Like if Iqbal was at Man City, he'd be going for 20 mil. And
that's right. Yeah.
But speaking of kids,
too.
Last season,
he's good.
I was gutted we let go of James Garner, and with the fact that we didn't have Casemiro actually would have given us the opportunity to play James Garner, especially in the beginning, and see how he goes, because as a CDM the season before he proved that he's better than McFred, like hands down.
Yeah.
And but the good thing about this preseason now, we have given a few players quite a few minutes at the moment.
Yeah.
Whether it continues or not, probably not. Let's face it. Like I don't know where Gore will get time, for example, especially. I think the players that will get time will probably be like Pelistri. It will be Garnacho again, obviously. Mainu, hopefully when he comes back, but he'll be out until January, and that's probably the biggest disappointment I've got from this preseason, because he has looked good when he played. But yeah, generally speaking, I am actually quite happy with the preseason. I'm looking forward to
Pelistri's supposed to be getting a new contract, so that looks like that's on its way as well.
I hope so, because he's a gun. He's a gun.
Oh, he's a quality player.
I prefer him to. I mean, they're very different players, him and Ahmad. But if we had to choose one on the wing, I would prefer to have Pelistri, because I feel he has more to him as a complete player as well.
Yeah,
I think it offers something different too, because he's rough-footed on the right. He can go in the wing and just cross it, and he can drive it.
He's not a selfish player. I find Ahmed
not at all
selfish.
Yeah.
If he was a 9, I would understand it, but he's a winger. So we should be looking for players to.
Ahmed's kind of like Nani in a way. I actually see them very similar in the style of play. He's not as good as Nani. Nani, as frustrating as Nani was, and I remember hating him sometimes.
Mate, he used to kill me.
Last season, though, what I would have given to have
my mate Nani.
you know? Yeah,
My mate, Nanny,
Alex
my
met,
mate.
yeah, Alex
I
met
met him
Nani.
last year at the Palace game.
Yeah, I had a function with him last year with the sporting club here up in Sydney. So I got to spend a fair bit of time with him. So it was nice.
I like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. But yeah, let's move on to the next part. I guess I wanted to know your thoughts about the transfers as well. So maybe, are you happy with them, and what's your expectation, kind of thing? So let's start with the big one, Onana. I hate what happened with David De Gea. Like, I hate the way it all went down. But I think Onana is obviously a good purchase for what we need, based on the fact that he has worked with Ten Hag in the past.
Yeah, definitely. Like, look, Onana's going to take a little bit to get used to for most of the supporters, and he's certainly wild, isn't he? Like, he's nerve-wracking to watch. But you know, look, he's got good feet, and I spoke about it on ours. The thing that makes me more nervous is when he draws that player into, and then he just gives that split-second pass once he's drawn that player in. I'd like to encourage him to just pass it just that little bit quicker rather than drawing right in, and instead of him being on top of him. But you know, look, it's in Eric's Ten Hag's plans to have a player like that, and David De Gea, you know, as much as everyone used to bag his footwork, I thought his footwork was okay, but it's not as good as Onana's. But then I don't think Onana's shot stopping is going to be as good as David De Gea's. So because I saw a couple of preseason goals there where I thought De Gea would have saved those, whereas Onana, I don't know if he's got that foot save.
No, he doesn't. I was hot on him, to be fair, because I wanted him. But my thing with De Gea is that, so obviously these days with the modern goalkeeper, you want them to be able to pass, which De Gea wasn't the best at. But the one sort of, I think, saving grace with De Gea was he can't pass, but he can save anything.
Yeah.
Problem is that the saving stopped. He wasn't making those saves, and then he was letting in a lot of stupid goals. And then it was kind of like, oh, okay, what's De Gea gonna sort of like? What's his saving grace at this point? So that's probably why we needed a new goalkeeper. Though I do agree that the De Gea situation was handled terribly. I think he was really hard done by, especially for such a great servant of the club. But I think, yeah, look, I know it's definitely sketchy, but I think I like him a lot. And I think he was probably the best player for Inter Milan for their run last year. I think it was a big reason they even got to the final and pulled off some big saves in the final. You know, the goal wasn't obviously his fault. I think it's all good. Definitely shaky. The thing with keepers like that, though, is you just got to sort of get used to them, especially given that we've never had a player like
Fabian
that.
Barthez was pretty similar as well.
Oh, it was wild.
Yeah, Barthez, mate, he used to love using his feet. And but yeah, look, the first time I saw Onana was in that Champions League final, and I actually commented to a couple of people that I was with, look, if there's one player that could probably suit Eric Ten Hag, was Onana. And
exactly.
yeah, you know, and sure enough, we ended up with him. But yeah, look, I think he's going to be good for United. I just hope no player gets disgruntled with him, being that he's so verbal. That's the part that worries me the most. Like he chased after Maguire. And
I think the media cared about that more than like anyone else. Like,
I know, but you know, sometimes these blokes have got a big chip on their shoulder, and I hope they just, you know, he is going to be a leader of the squad, and it's good to see that we're starting to get more leaders in the team again. So
yeah, I do think that both Martinez and Varane would be more than okay with it, because
yeah,
I feel like they have the character where they do the same. Like we've seen last season Martinez get angry at someone. We've seen Varane, obviously, you know, he's Champions League winner, World Cup winner. Like he would have that attitude. The one positive as well, the last one I want to say about Onana is that, so last season we really missed Martinez when he was injured, because we had no one who can play that pass from the back to the front the way that he does, which is like low, powerful through ball that just no one could do it. And I think Onana is actually someone who, let's say Martinez is out, could do that. Or having both of them obviously play at the same time means that we get more options in getting that ball across, either to the wingers or to Bruno and then to the striker straight away. So it adds a lot in regards to that.
Yeah, definitely. Look,
Cool.
I think it's going to be encouraging with Nana there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and he seems like a good guy as well from everything I've seen up to now. Every
You wouldn't mess
video
with
I've
him, would
seen-
you?
Pardon?
I said you wouldn't mess with him, would you?
way.
No, you wouldn't. But
He can handle the criticism
there
though.
was a video.
He owned the chip, the chip goal. He said, "I cop it. It's my fault."
Yeah.
Like that's a good mental. Like if you're going to scream at people when they make mistakes, like it's good that he can
Wasn't
own
even his mistake,
mistakes too.
but yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like he said, like he's happy to wear it. Like that shows good character. Like not being a victim. Just no, I'll cop
I'll tell
it.
you
I'll
what,
learn from it.
with that gut like that was 100% Delotte's fault.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
how quick did it? Like I saw a side-on video of it today, and I didn't realize he was so far up. Like
He ran quick. Yeah.
He was in between the 18-yard box and halfway, and Delotte made the pass from just on halfway. It's
And
freaking hell. That's confidence.
I will
isn't
say
it?
as well, like probably 8 out of 10 times that ball doesn't go in. So it's not like this is something that's going to happen often, even if you do lose the ball at that kind of situation. And the last thing I want to say is with Onana, like, I've seen a video of players signing jerseys, and he was the last one in that video signing, but he was doing it with such a smile on his face as well,
Yeah.
signing for the fans. And that's awesome. That's what I want to see, a player that, wants to do that for the fans. So very happy with him. The next signing, I'm torn on still at the moment, even though he's probably good for the depth. Mason Mount. What are we thoughts? Like, personally, I just don't know if it's something we needed straight away, but it is good to have the depth, obviously, as well. He hasn't set the world alight yet in preseason, that's for sure. But he seems to be working hard. Doesn't help that he had that terrible miss. Oh my lord!
It wasn't even a miss. You can't even call it a miss. He didn't even make contact with the ball.
No, he touched it. He left-footed it onto himself, I think, and then
if you want to call it that. I'm still somewhat bullish on him. I think because I know how good he was for Chelsea. Like not last season, but last season was a writer for Chelsea. I'm still pretty bullish on him. I know he was great for Chelsea, especially when they won the Champions League, and I think we needed him insofar as Eriksen was shot by the end of the year. He can't really run. Like he's old. Just lucky to be alive, to be fair.
But that's an opportunity we can give someone like Iqbal at the time.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But I don't know. I'm kind of at a point where I feel like if Ten Hag wants a player, I'm like, I trust you. If you wanted him, I'm happy to be with it. And he does suit the need in terms of the way he can move, the way he can press, and it does give us another midfielder, which we do need because it does mean less time, if not selling your Freds, your McTominays. So it does just give us for the first time in how long we actually have a starting midfield that's actually competent and can compete with majority of the league. To go from where we were in terms of the midfield to now having Bruno, Casemiro, Mount, I think
from
that's
the McFred days. Yeah.
It's a big improvement. I think stylistically and tactically, I think he'll work. It just might take a bit of time. Price is a bit iffy, 60 mil or whatever it was. We'll see.
Actually, I'm more okay with the price just because he's English as well, and I understand that that's going to be the case. But Adam.
Oh, look, you know what? If anything, through the preseason, I actually thought Mason Mount was all right. Like he was getting through into holes and stuff like that. And as much as I felt he should have been scoring goals, I think once he's encouraged and he ends up scoring a goal, I think that things may happen for him. But you don't like to say once I score one, they'll score 10. But the thing about him that I did like was he was finding holes, he was putting balls through, he was working box to box. He's a player that works hard, and you can see he's going to work hard for the badge. I don't think he'd let himself down. So these are the types of players you want. Look, he's going to help when Bruno needs a rest. He just can't play every single game.
He can't play 62 games.
That's it. He just
does.
Can't,
I don't get it.
I know he does, and he
I don't get it.
wants to. But Eric Ten Hag's going to have to pull him up on that, and just you can't play him in every single cup game.
Especially as the fact that he's captain now as well, you kind of need him even more for the big games.
That's
you can't
right.
be playing him 90 minutes against bullshit FC in the first round of the League Cup. You just can't.
Yeah, that's it. Like things like that just can't happen. Like you need players like Mason Mount. He's got a lot of experience from Chelsea, and he's got a lot of experience right around the place. So he's going to be encouraging young players and things like that. So it's just another notch on the belt, basically another leader in the team. So I'm happy that he's there. I'm glad we got him. So for me, I think it's going to be encouraging.
I think the one thing you touched on there that is kind of undeniable is the work rate. Like he does work hard, and he always has.
You can't have Bruno working hard all the time. Like you can't have that, and like you got to watch risk with Casemiro as well, because he's got 31. He's loose on the tackles a lot. He reminds me of Paul Scholes sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'll tell you what, I get really annoyed at pundits at the moment saying, "Oh, you got to watch out for the red cards and this and that." And yet, when the red cards happened last season, they were like, "Oh, that should never be a red card." So they kind of
mate, I was at the game.
It wasn't meant to be a red card
when he got that red card, and I wasn't far away from it. And sorry,
against Southampton, that one, or the one with the
where he choked him. Yeah, that against Palace? Was it?
Palace.
Yeah. It was at that game. It's a joke.
It wasn't even a choke. It was I'll just do your caller for you.
Yeah, that's it. Like I felt that red card really hurt him through the season. I thought he was afraid to play his own game at times through the season. So
I think he even mentioned it. Like he mentioned that it was he has to be more cautious in England or something like that. But,
yeah. Look, I think the more players we've got like around like Mason Mount, it's good.
Yeah, I can understand that as well. Last one, Hoyland as well. I hope I pronounced it right. It's Hodgland or Hoyland. I think it's Hoyland.
It's Hoyland. I heard the interview today.
Yeah. I haven't watched the interview yet.
They did ask him.
That's going to be a big one. I think a lot of people at the moment don't understand how he plays. How it's quite different to what they expect. He's not a poacher per se. He does a lot of running from the wide areas in to score a goal, even though he's a 9. Left-footed, right? So like
I think it's right.
Really, I thought he has like a bullet left foot. There you go. Could be both.
I got no idea.
Like
still in January, man.
When they interviewed him today, he's had a very quick career. Like he's gone from he's only 20 from what I read, and 20 years old as a 9 at Manchester United. That is huge. It's a lot of pressure, but he's pretty confident bloke. His favourite player is Cristiano Ronaldo, and he speaks about Ronaldo, the way his cockiness basically, and he loves that in a player. He sort of brings that into that kind of arrogance into his game, which you want to hear out of a 9. I want to hear that. I want our 9 to be arrogant. I want our 9 to go, I'm confident enough I'm going to finish that. Look, he only scored probably, I think, 10 or 12 goals last year in the Serie A. But, the English game's a lot different to that. They're very defensive-minded in Italy. And
I think the English game will suit him very much because he is because he's young, people, I don't think, realize
he's
massive. How big he is as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, again, he's 20. When he's 22, 23, he's actually going to have like even more of a build to him. I can't say I've seen much of him. Like
he's 191. He's 191 centimeters, FYI. Big lad.
I actually
big
like
guy.
that he's only 20 because Manchester United's always given young players the go ahead in that 9 position. We took Wayne Rooney when he was only, I think, 18 or 19 years old, and we put him up front. And players like Cristiano Ronaldo are the same. When he came over, he was only 18.
Mason Greenwood.
Mason Greenwood the same. Regardless of what he's done, he was still young. He came in and played well for us. And
Rashford, let's not forget.
Rashford's the same. 2016, he's come in. Yeah, there's a lot of players that have come into Manchester United as kids. You can go as far back as Duncan Edwards and Bobby Charlton. And, they were only kids. They won a youth cup. They came into the first side and, in 57, 58 and become world beaters.
Based on everything we've seen, or heard from him and things like that as well, he should have the mentality to deal with the pressure that comes. And being a Man United number 9 is a lot of pressure, especially, unfortunately for him, the fact that his name is so similar to Haaland's, who plays for our biggest competitor at the moment, our neighbours. So there's a kind of added pressure there, but I think mentally, from what I can see, he should be able to hold it. We just got to be patient with him. You know, if he scores like 13 goals this season, that's a good season for a 20 that just came to a new season, like a new league. So people just got to be aware of that as well.
I think a big thing for United is selfishness. It's a big thing for United, and you know, one thing with City,
the Van Nistelrooy away, hopefully.
Yeah, they're not selfish like Man City. They're happy to play that extra pass, and that's something United needs to learn to do. Play that extra pass, and that extra pass always gets you a goal, instead of someone just trying to whip Anthony, for example, trying to cut inside all the time, trying to whip it in that far post.
Yeah.
You know what? You said that about Anthony earlier. I want to mention that in the first game of preseason, I saw him go wide, actually. It was only once, but I saw it happen.
more than last season. I think the Haaland comparisons also, I think it gets a little bit lazy from people because, like, okay, they're both Scandinavian blondes and have similar names. Like, doesn't mean that they're the same player. Like,
that's my new card, by the way.
These your mate, you just have to rack them up like Pokemon. And I think it's just like, because if you look at like the bit of Højlund that I've seen, like for Denmark than anything, he's he's very, very mobile, very athletic. Not that Haaland isn't, but he's not so much like a poacher. He's not just this big bloke you're gonna lob the ball up to, or cut it back and just head the ball in, tap in. Like he's got more to him. He's quite raw. I mean, if anything, he kind of plays a bit more like Darwin Nunez, but I think and the price tag's a lot, and he's going to get a lot of heat and a lot of pressure from the media, from rival fans and whatnot. That's fine. Like it is what it is. It's just part of the game. But I think that as United fans, like as you said, we have to back off of him.
Yeah.
And just let him go, because if we start piling on it, jumping on his back, then that could break him. But if we can just sort of stick it out with him, because mind you as well, you're buying a 20-year-old. You're not buying a 20-year-old now thinking, okay, go get 30 goals right now. You're buying a 20-year-old with the expectation of, okay, you're going to be our striker for the next 5-10 years if all goes well. So like if
at least we know we can sell him in 5 years' time, unlike a lot of the other people we have.
Look, if he gets 10-15 goals in the league, that's good. I'm happy with that, because that's a start that you can then work from that. Because the hope is that we're building something to then, compete and take for the next, few years. Not now. Like, I'd like for us to win trophies now, but it's being unrealistic right now. We've got to make sure we're building for something for the future and that we can sustain. And if all goes well, Højlund will be a big part of that project.
Yeah. So based on that, they're the 3 signings we have. Is there anything else you think we're getting? We're getting all the Amrabat.
I think Amrabat wants
rumors.
to come.
I don't know if
he wants to come. He wants to.
I honestly don't think we have the money at the moment unless we do sell. And which we're just not good at. Like, that's a fact. So we'll see. But all right, we'll leave the transfers at that. I have a couple of short questions, and then we're pretty much good. First question is, what's I guess you're a Man United fan, part of the club and this and that. What's your expectation / goal for this season?
Oh, we definitely look. For me, expectations this year, I need to see Rashford. Look, I'm a huge fan of Rashford, and I would like to see him get 31 goals this year. He set the bar at 30 goals. He needs to go further now. We need to see players hitting around the 20 mark. I want to see him. Bruno needs to step up. I think Bruno's on average is around 20 goals anyway. So I'd like to see him step it up a bit more. Rashford's up there as well. Højlund, like you just said, 13 goals. I don't know if I'm happy with that. I'd like to see him at least around the 20 mark, to be honest with you.
In the league or overall? Because I'm thinking 13 in the league.
Overall this year. Okay. So I'm talking overall.
Overall, 20 would be obviously very good.
No, I'm talking overall. I'd like to see that. Anthony, I've got to see more consistency out of him. Otherwise, I want to see Palestri out on that right-hand side. or even like Garnacho or something like that. Because at the end of the day, we've got a kid named Alessandro Garnacho, and we've got to find a spot for him because he's playing in behind Marcus Rashford at the moment. And every time you see Garnacho on that pitch, he's encouraging and he's always positive.
It was great
And
the last
he works hard. It's not often you can say that he's had a bad game. I think maybe might have been one last year from the time he came in, having a bad game, and then he got injured. But we've got those two going to be competing. We need someone competing against Anthony. Sometimes I think because he was 100 million, I think it's Eric Ten Hag justifying him, and so I've got to see something there through our midfield. Our midfield's got to stay compact. But at the end of the day, I'm very confident we're going to get another trophy. For some reason, I believe we're going to be competing for first and second. So I don't know why I feel like that, but I think it could be just because of what we're building.
Yeah, I think it's the manager. Like he just brings confidence with him. Like I just feel it.
Confidence, man.
Yeah.
Well, I said it in our like mid-year sort of review thing, like I think it was our first episode. I said the thing with Ten Hag is it's made me like United again. It made me like look forward to watching games every Saturday and seeing what's coming. And so I'm with you there. I feel like Ten Hag is making us feel like we can actually start competing for things again.
I think that's kind of my expectation. Number one, be competing for whatever you're in, which we kind of did last season, except for the league, obviously. And on a player's kind of level, I'd be happy if Rashford, let's say, got a 20, 25 goal involvements or 30 involvements, we'll say 30, because he hasn't done it like season by season kind of thing. He's always been patchy. So it'd be good to actually see him do that. And then, like that's probably the main two things. Like Bruno, I think Bruno did fine last season. We got to remember that, unfortunately, like everyone else just couldn't finish a strike. Like Bruno had the most chances created in the Premier League, but we just couldn't finish it. So I think
he really struggled with his finishing last year, Bruno.
He did.
Yeah.
I'm actually a bit torn because you always hear about like Rashford wants to take the free kick or this person wants to do it or Mount does and this and that. People forget that Bruno was an absolute gun at free kicks. He's a dead ball specialist. Like, and when he came initially, he was scoring them. He was doing this, and it's kind of a shame that
Bruno's biggest downfall was when Ronaldo came.
Yeah, 100%.
Ronaldo to take his penalties.
I remember. Yeah, I remember the whole discussion about Bruno.
And Dalot fell into the same thing because they all play for Portugal and stuff like that. They all I don't blame them. They all idolise Ronaldo, but they couldn't separate Ronaldo the person to Ronaldo the player. So every time they wanted to pass the ball, it was always to Ronaldo, and it really affected their game really bad.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Definitely, they both look. Dalot's looking good. Bruno.
I'd like to see Bruno cry a little bit less. Like I don't mind it generally speaking, because we've had players who are like that a lot in the past. Like some
Roy Keane used to do it a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
People forget.
And the thing, I think people also forget that sometimes Bruno literally reacts like that to himself as well. It's not like he just does it to everyone else. He actually gets annoyed at himself when he fucks something up.
And he shows passion. We cry like when players don't show passion. Then when a player shows passion, we're like, you can't do that. It's like, well, at least he gives a shit. Like that's always a positive.
Another big thing is Sancho.
Yes, this is make or break year. I think.
Don't get me started. Do you know how much I wanted Sancho at our team? Like,
if he can't do it this year, because Yoni, I wanted him for 2 years. I wanted him at United, but if he can't, if this year isn't his year,
and I really feel like,
because I don't know how many more chances he can get.
I really feel like Ten Hag is a great coach for, like, Ten Hag play is really good for Sancho as well. Like, as long as you Ten Hag wants to be, he said before, really good on the transition, right? Now, if the transition's like deep from our, like, let's say our defensive area or whatever, it might not be the best for Sancho in general. But I actually think if we are in their half and we gain the ball, Sancho's like a gun at like the 1-2 touches to break a defense and things like that, like, and making those runs into pockets. And that's where he would really like shine if he could get into the right spot. The issue is we have Anthony at the moment playing the position that Sancho was literally the best at Dortmund. So
Yeah.
I'd like us to as well. I'd like us to close the gap on City and Arsenal. Challenge him to a degree.
Arsenal's going to go fourth this season. I honestly,
that'd be great.
Don't get me started on Arsenal buying the new Harry Maguire for 100. That's what they did.
Like, you know,
they
like,
have bought well.
Though.
They have bought well, Arsenal though.
I like what they've done.
Rice is so overrated. He was terrible. He was terrible for 2/3 of the season.
Yeah, look, I just think Arsenal aren't going to drop too much. I don't think. They just beat City in the Charity Shield.
Yeah, I know, but what did that? City's lost like 3 out of the last 4 charities.
United used to lose them all the
time. Yeah.
Arsenal did look good though, but like what I mean more though is whoever's the top 2 teams, I'd like us to see us close the gap. Like we were third,
100%, man.
Let's scrape third. Let's try and push.
I think
just give first and second, whoever it is, whether it's
15 points or something last year.
Yeah. Get them sort of like looking over there.
I actually think in general,
worrying about
a lot closer because I think Chelsea actually will be really good this season. I reckon. Like Poch has done really well. Look at their preseason.
They can only get better. To be fair, they can only get better.
Liverpool, I don't know about yet, but Aston Villa is going to be really good. Like there's going to be teams really taking points out of everyone. I don't think City is going to beat people as convincingly as they did, even though they didn't for some parts of the season. I think Arsenal went for the first 30 games they were like lost once or something, and that was to Man United, right? But I don't think that's going to happen. Like. So there's a bit to it. I'd
like us also to qualify for the knockouts in Europe. At least get out. Like depending on who we get in the group, obviously if it gets some group of death crap, maybe I'm more forgiving.
I'd still want us to qualify.
Yeah, at the very least, I'd like us to get into the round of 16 just to show that. It'd be good for morale, but also.
We have to get out.
I think we need quarters.
Show that we're getting there.
About it.
Like minimum.
No question about it for me.
Yeah,
I think so. I think I'd love to see that, and definitely another cup run with the Carabao and the FA Cup, especially. Like we know we lost the rough final to lose in the FA Cup, but let's go for it again. Let's actually start just putting our authority onto competitions.
We have to be competing for everything. We have to be competing for everything. I don't care what anyone says. We've always through the 90s. We really struggled with Champions League and stuff like that, and. We did make it to semi-finals and stuff like that, but still it wasn't as encouraging as obviously when we won the treble and stuff like that. And like 2007, 8, 09, 3 years in a row we made Champions League final. Unfortunately, we come up against
the greatest team of all time.
the greatest team of all time in Barcelona and Messi. And as much as we had Ronaldo in those days, but they had an absolutely phenomenal team. Spain won the World Cup in those time and things like that. So, look, we've got to be competing in everything for me.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Ten Hag last season tried to as well in a way. Like obviously you could see he went for that's why Bruno played every game. He went pretty much every tournament. All right, we're gonna move to the last stage. I just want 1-word answers. There's 5 quick questions here. We'll go. Adam, Alex, myself, pretty much. We'll do it in that order and we'll do 1 word each kind of thing. So it's predictions. Who do we think is going to be player of the season? Adam?
From Manchester United?
Yeah. All Man United stuff.
I'm going to say Rashford again.
All right, cool. Rashford. Alex?
Bruno.
Yeah, cool. I was going to go with Bruno as well. I think he's probably going to have a super season now. Top goal scorer. Adam.
Well, it has to be Rashford.
What, we can't get a Haaland situation?
Because I said he has to score more than 30.
Yeah.
20. So I can't contradict myself.
yeah. I'm going to go Rashford as well.
Yeah, Rashford.
Yeah, awesome.
Easy answer.
Breakout player of the season.
Far out, breakout player.
I'm going to go Palistri. It's going to be his
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, I think it'll be very good.
I would have
yeah,
said
100%.
Mainu, except for the fact that he got injured. So Palistri.
Yeah. It's hard to get back in there, isn't it, for Manu? Really, he's got some good midfielders there, and he's only young, so.
And especially because he's coming like midway through the season kind of situation as well.
That's
Like
it,
we would have hit our groove.
Yeah.
Predictions for the first game against Wolves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one word answer.
Oh, well,
3-0.
Yeah. I mean, Wolves are looking terrible at the moment. So
yeah, I think we're
gonna
going to bag a hatful. I really believe that.
And I believe we're at home, right?
Good.
So
it's at Old Trafford.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go 3-0.
I'll say 4-0.
Nice.
Get one up, yes.
And last question: are we going to win any trophies?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
All right. Of course, yes. All right. That is all for the podcast. Once again, I want to remind everyone, Adam has his own YouTube and podcast called, is it?
It's ManCave United.
ManCave United. Thank you. Definitely recommend joining any of the state clubs that are in your state, wherever you're living. So obviously New South Wales has New South Wales, etc. And again, I just want to say thank you, obviously, for joining in, having the Man United chat with Alex and myself.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I really love. I love talking Manchester United, man. No matter where we are, it's you can see. I mean, as much as this is an audio, but I'm always smiling when we're talking United, and that's the best thing about having you guys on, and our ManCave United. Like when you send me an itinerary of what the order we are, we're not like that at ManCave United. We just talk like we are, like we walk into the cave. I literally come home from work, have a shower, get in the cave, doing we're on, and we just talk. So that's what we're like. We talk like we're in the cave, and that's it. Boys just getting together and having a chat, and that's what's good about it. I love talking football, and I love talking. Yoni, we talk a fair bit about football, and mate, I'm so happy I've got to finally see you in person. Oh, not in person, but.
Well, hopefully we'll see you at the United game in Scruffies at some point.
Apologies that you had to witness him. We do apologize on behalf of
Alex. You joined in with our camera to begin with. I was actually quite excited.
What? I love his passion for football, because after every game he'll write a comment on our supporter club page, and whether it's right or wrong,
it's always right. Thank you.
It's always good to see someone get in there and have his opinions and just talk football, just talk United. And that's what's good about it, man. Manchester United family. We're a big family, and I can't encourage that enough. Get out, like you said, get out to your supporter clubs, enjoy everyone's company, and not many people can get to Old Trafford, and but by hanging around fellow supporters, it's certainly like that.
And I think as well, I've made some lifelong and close friends just by virtual football and by virtue of Manchester United as well. So
I'll say we're
acquaintances, get involved.
Just as an FYI,
Oh please, you bloody drove! Every time I'm in Sydney, you drive me around. You're like my little Uber driver.
I need the money now. All good. Well, once again, thank you everyone, and thank you for listening. And like, subscribe, and whatever it is that they say. I don't know. Whatever. All right. See ya.
See you, boys. Thank you for having me. See ya.